everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Over the Top TV. I'm Curtis Klashinsky, and with me today,
Riley Miller.
Riley Miller. It's been a minute, Riley. It's been a bit, but we are due
It
to make
is.
videos, man. With seasons opening up all over the place, like your season of arm wrestling through, say, a province as you work your way up through tournaments and go to provincials and then go to your nationals. That's all starting now. It's all fresh, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like it's a good time to start up a video. And like you said, it's been a minute. And I think the good start to 2023 is just let's talk about our roots of our channel, Western Canadian Arm Wrestling, and let's talk about what's coming up. There's tons of events all across Saskatchewan, all across Western Canada. Let's dive into that a little bit. And I'm sure we'll get into some other interesting events that are going on pretty quick here, too. So, yeah, I agree. It's been a minute.
Right on.
And let's talk about some stuff.
All right, man. Well, not even sure where to start, man. I just want to get on here as the Saskatoon tournament is coming up right away here. So that's exciting. I mean, it's always cool when circuit tournaments start up again. Try to get some of these new guys, been recruiting to the club, try to get some of these guys out and competing. Really want to push for that. And I know, like, we have members that haven't competed yet, but they've been training hard, some of them for a few years, through COVID, couldn't compete, all that. So we're looking at guys who have been just building and building and building, and people have never even heard their names before. And you're actually up against one of these guys coming up right away, aren't you, Riley?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, last year was kind of that first year for coming out of COVID and having a lot of guys come out of the woodwork. Like I took losses last year to guys I never knew who they were. Maybe I took them lightly and they just smoked me. Right, these guys come out of the woodwork, and I still think we're in that a little bit. This year is going to be a little bit of that present. Just guys coming out of nowhere. They've spent their COVID years very, very intelligently training, building, and now we're going to see a lot of that. And as you mentioned, yeah, I'm going up against one very, very soon. One of Saskatoon's own. His name is Aaron. And I think if people looked at the two names, obviously I've competed a lot more than Aaron. So they might look at the two names. If they were to give their prediction, they might say, oh, Riley's got this. I don't know who this other guy is. Riley's got this. Let me tell you, I am the underdog, 100%. This guy is unbelievable. Just a club puller, just loves to go to practice, loves to arm wrestle. He's super good dude. And I don't know, hopefully after this, we can get into some more tournaments. He's just one of those guys that's just wicked strong. And I'm looking forward to it. Tuesday, January 10th.
Yes. Yeah, that's right away, man. That's going to be in front of the whole club. We'll have that recorded. We'll share it on Over the Top TV here and let you do a director's commentary version. And you can narrate that process. You are going against his left, which is his strong arm. He's an interesting fellow because it looks like he weighs like 225 if I had to look at him, but he swears he's like 200 pounds. He can make 198 no problem. And I'm like, unreal. Because if that's true, like, I struggle with his left and my left is okay. So it's interesting. So yeah, good on you, man. We'll make sure we share that on here. But that's where things are starting. And then I see we're going, so that's on, so the 14th is the Saskatoon tournament. And then if you actually want to jump in order, now you feel free to kick in here anytime, but I know there's going to be an event in Brandon, Manitoba on the 21st as well at Houston's Bar. So there's going to be an event there. I've already seen posters up on Facebook and social media. So I don't plan on going to that because, like, January is already stacked for me between this January 14th one in Saskatoon and then January 28th, which we'll talk about in a minute, in Moose Jaw, which is coming up.
Yeah, for sure. I hadn't actually heard about that brand one, so that's a new one on the list. Like you said, I think I'm aiming for some of the more local Saskatoon type area ones, or just Saskatchewan in general. One of those first circuit tournaments, kind of throw my hat in the ring for the 2023 season.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing kind of all that stuff. And then, so we hit 2023. We hit the first Saskatchewan one, which is at Bugsy's, right? January 14th.
Yeah, next weekend.
The one after that, do you want to get into that one right now?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's move into that. Absolutely.
For sure. And I mean, we'll come back to all this stuff too. We're just going to kind of get stuff out there. But one I'm really interested in, as of today, even a little bit more, is January 28th, the Fit to Fight event, the first Fit to Fight event of the year. And it's in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan at the Canadian Brew House. And that is all obviously held by Kane Hemsing. That's his league. I believe this is the Duke Invitational, which they've done for a few years now with Brandon Olofsson out of Saskatchewan as well, who's a Canadian legend arm wrestler. A lot of people know who he is. And so obviously they do these meets in kind of honor of him and just what a great guy he is. I believe he has a super match lined up. I'm not 100% sure on the details. I believe they typically try to get him one. But I don't want to speak on it because I'm not 100%. One thing I'm really excited about is there was a post made today.
And there was a post made. I didn't see it. You saw it before I did, and you signed it to me right away. What was the post?
I'm particularly interested because it was none other than Uncle John, who obviously big name in the arm wrestling world. He's been on live streams all over the place. He's got a very heavy social media presence in the arm wrestling game. And he made a post. He said, "I'm coming out to this Fit to Fight event. Nobody in Saskatchewan can beat me. I challenge you to come and shut me up," basically. And I was like, yes, I love that. Do I think I can beat him? I don't know, but I just love it. I want to go and give it a try, right? And I think that's what we all want to do. So
that's a boss move. It's a boss move to challenge a whole province and be like, yeah, I can beat everybody. I mean, it's good though, right? That's good social. That's good like social media presence right there because, I mean, why not say that? It's a big claim, but I mean, what do you have to lose? I mean, even if you lose a match, it still draws attention.
Oh, absolutely. You get everybody to come out too, and that's like you said. You get people talking today, and I was like, "Oh, Fit to Fight. They're always great events. I'm gonna go." I was always gonna go, but now I'm really gonna go.
You're really gonna go.
After seeing that, it's great. Yeah.
So who do you think from Saskatchewan will give him a run for his money?
There's some killers in this province. Like I would say top contenders for sure would be like Steve Gaber, yourself, Curtis Klaschinski, Solomon Latimer is a killer. Joel Hansen's a killer. Sheldon Short. Obviously Aaron. Nobody knows who he is, but killer. Kane Hemsing, Clayton Turcotte, Vince Squires. He's kind of like Manitoba, Saskatchewan. He's kind of in between. And then obviously there's going to be probably Manitoba guys there too, I would imagine.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, well, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. I was seeing posts on there. People saying that maybe they'd be going from Manitoba and other areas. So it could be a really big event. Now even potentially bigger with like throwing down the gauntlet like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't know if he means like I'm going to be on the after poll table. Like, I mean, that's probably going to be part of it, but I take it that means he's entering. He's going to go in a tournament.
Yeah, you know what? Oddly enough, I didn't even consider that could be exactly what it means. That's the best way to take on anyone who wants to take him on. And then I guess you could after pull other weight classes, smaller weight classes after.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, I think I watched footage of him competing at another tournament in the States. I think that was when I think he went and spent some time with Cobra Rhodes. And he went down and he entered a tournament there. I think he pulled like 4 different weight classes or something. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just does that here. I mean, why wouldn't he? Because if he's putting the hammer down, he's challenging everybody. He's probably going to pull everybody he's able to, enter every weight class he can make at least. So that'll be good. That's what I hope he does. It'll be cool.
Yeah, me as well. I've never pulled Uncle John. I did see him at the Nationals after pulling 2022, this last Nationals. I saw him after pulling there, and he was he was pulling with guys that I couldn't handle. But I mean, everyone's burnt out from Nationals. Who knows how much everybody's wrecked from that? But he looked super strong to me. Who he was, how he was doing. Even fresh against a beat up, super heavyweight. Dude's got skills. He obviously knows what he's doing. So yeah, that'll be really neat. And then I think that's it for that one, right? So definitely have to make an appearance there. Give it a shot. See if the statement's true. I mean, I'll throw my hat in the ring, obviously.
Oh, for sure. I've never even
And
met the guy, but I'm interested. So
yeah, seems like a nice guy. Did an excellent job announcing at nationals.
yeah, actually that's a lie. I didn't really meet him, but I've seen him in person. I guess he was an announcer at Nationals in Edmonton, so I did see him in person. But
Nice.
yeah, he does a really good job at that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he really did an excellent job. Kept the crowd entertained. I was,
yeah.
even throughout the day, definitely helps to have someone like that. Yeah. So then moving forward, I know in February, Prince Albert's going to have their winter games. So Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, they'll have their winter games, and not all the details are out on that yet. But that's always a good time, and it's a really good, like, amateur tournament. I don't, it's been years since I've taken less than first at that event. So who knows? Maybe this year I'll just coach or something. Like I'll go with the team and just coach. I just maybe give everyone else a chance. But I feel like that's more of an amateur tournament. So who knows? Maybe I'll do that this year. Um, who knows? Depends who
If
shows up.
I'm not, yeah, for sure. If I'm not mistaken, is that the one where the only time I've ever arm wrestled you in an actual competition? That is the one. That's the same one. Okay,
Yeah.
because I went and I remember I was going there too, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill everybody. I'm gonna kill everybody today. And then you walked in, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be interesting, interesting. And I don't know if I killed everybody except you, but it was pretty close to that. And
I,
then
I
yeah, I ran
think you
in.
did. I was impressed because I'd never really heard of you before that point, and maybe I'd heard your name online or
Yeah,
something, but I've never arm wrestled you. I never met you. I never saw you. And I mean, I was wrecking everybody. And then all of a sudden it was like, ready, go. And all of a sudden, for a second, you held me like
yeah,
just off center at the top. I was like, unreal. And then fun. And then
yeah,
I think we slipped, went to straps, and then took it from there. But
yeah.
yeah, you surprised me, man. That was, yeah, my first experience
That
with you was
was
like definitely like a good job experience. Like I was beyond
yeah,
impressed.
yeah. Like I obviously I knew who you were, and I think I did take one other loss. I think Richard Ryan got me once that day as well. But yeah, it was kind of like everybody, me, and then you. So
It's the way it
yeah,
goes sometimes. Sometimes I'm at the top, sometimes I'm at the middle, sometimes I'm at the bottom. It depends who shows up,
depends on how deep the water is. Yeah,
how
absolutely.
deep the water goes. So, do you know anything else about any Canadian events coming up that we can mention?
Um, let's take a look here. I think I'll start with we can go through some Alberta stuff too. I mean, we'll just kind of list them all and then go from there. Um, I know 2023, the first event going on in Alberta, from what I can see, is on January 14th, which is very soon. It's before any Saskatchewan one, is in Grand Prairie, and that'll be held at the Prairie Mall.
Okay.
I'm not too sure on a whole lot of the info. It looks like it's held by the Northern Twistmasters, which is a really good club. I've heard a lot about them. I'm not too familiar on any of the logistics, but I'm sure it'll be a really great tournament. And then the next one, there's an amateur tournament in Lethbridge on February 18th. Now, I'm not sure. Have you heard anything about that one? Is that going to be like Lethbridge Classic kind of level? Because obviously, you know the Lethbridge Classic, how successful the last two of those have been. I'm
Yeah.
not too sure if it's going to be something like that or if it's just an amateur tournament to get things going, kind of on the lower and beginner levels. If that's the case, that's excellent. I really love what they're doing there. So there's that one, and then feel free to jump in or anything. But if
Yeah.
not, I'll just kind of list them all. But
Yeah. Just a note on that one. I was surprised to see that it was amateur only. I've never been to like I mean even as an amateur I never saw any amateur
yeah,
only events. Have you seen much of those? And like are you surprised at all that there's just an amateur event and there's not pro classes? Why do you know why someone would do that? Like why not just offer both?
I'm not sure. Like I'm just going off the list. I haven't really seen a flyer or anything. Maybe there is both in a way, but yeah, from what I can see here, it just says amateur tournament. So I'm assuming that means it's just kind of for amateurs. Kind of just show up, start out. Don't be intimidated by all the Len Houghtons and all those dudes. Just come pull new people. And it sounds like a great idea, like you said.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, typically, isn't there just kind of an amateur class and then a pro class like you can kind of do? But then
Yeah.
there's always that there's always that difficulty of like, well, who's pro, who's amateur? Like for me, I never really pulled too much amateur in my career. Like I kind of started, I went to my first Fit to Fight tournament, which like I pulled some beasts right off the bat. And then shortly after that, I went to the Saskatchewan Provincials in 2019, which wasn't very heavily populated compared to this past year at least. And I won because I won a provincial championship left hand. It's kind
Yeah.
of in poor spirit or poor taste for me to now compete at an amateur event or to compete in an amateur class. So from then on, in my mind, I was kind of like, okay, well, now I'm not going to be pro because I won a provincial championship. So from then on, I've just been pulling pro. So I don't really know the whole thing with amateurs, and it's a great thing. I'm not too familiar with it myself. So
Yeah, I never got to experience amateur classes much either, man. Most of it there wasn't any. There was a youth class and adult, youth and senior, and that was it. So I never really got a chance. And then when I was, every time I was arm wrestling, I started with Jason Roy. Then I went to with Terrell Wojciechowski, and none of these guys were going to amateur events. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They were going to the big boy events. So I just tagged along, and when I first started, I remember telling Jason Roy, I was like, why am I going to these events? Like, I'm getting smashed in 2 seconds. Like, what am I really learning? Like, I'm brand new. And he's like, you'll learn. Just come to the events and you'll learn. And then, he was right. But it was after pulling is really what, things like that. After pulling, talking to the guys who beat you. Lots of guys in arm wrestling will happily tell you how to beat them. So, stuff like that. Yeah. So then it started to make sense. But the first, I'm like, this is dumb. I'm doing I'm in and I'm out. I'm in. It's like Jason Roy, Kane Hemsing, somebody else out. Every time.
Yeah. Double elimination, 2 matches. That's it, right?
Yeah, 2 matches. That was it.
That's how I started too. So
yeah.
Eventually, it starts turning around, and you start to get a little bit more into the middle of the pack, and then you start getting up in the top, and so.
It's got to stick with it. I mean, that's the trick, right? If you can stick with it, you can definitely grow.
Yeah.
No, all right. What else you got there, big guy? You got any more events?
How late in the year do you want to go? Do you want just first couple or the whole?
Yeah, just the start of the year here. I figure we can just get it out there, right? And if someone's watching from wherever, they can be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like I'll be in, Saskatchewan around this time. Maybe you can stop by."
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just go into March, I guess, a little bit, and then we'll
absolutely,
because there's 2 in March in Alberta. There's 1 in Hinton, the Letoski Cup. Now, I want to say that's an event that's been around for a little while. I've heard about the last name Letoski. That's obviously an arm wrestling last name. I've heard for a while, at least in the Alberta scene. And that's going to be in Hinton. That's going to be March 3rd and 4th.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if they're expecting a lot of entries or what.
It's a
2-day tournament. Yeah. They might be looking at kind of what happened at Mayhem and then being like, okay, we're expecting this many people. Let's adjust things a bit. And then maybe we'll get into Mayhem a little bit too, because I know you were there. And it was looked like a good event, a long event, but a good event.
So, I thought we talked about Mayhem, didn't we? Maybe not. I thought I maybe made a video on Mayhem. I had to make a video on. I made a video on Mayhem, but we didn't make a video on Mayhem.
Yeah. I think you and I spoke a little bit, but not on the channel or anything.
Not on the channel, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And then the second one is a Stronghold event in Calgary, and that'll be March 18th. And I guess another thing with Stronghold, if we want to get into that, because that's the event I'll leave off on. Everybody knows Stronghold in Alberta. It's been a great promotion for a couple of years now. I know that Dalibor Bagaric started the whole thing. He built it kind of from the ground up, has a really good foundation. I know every time that I heard a Stronghold event announced in Alberta, I kind of sat up in my chair a little bit. They were always fantastic events. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Dalibor recently gave up ownership to Fraser Benoit.
Right. So I did hear about this. I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard it.
Yeah. I'm not sure the reasons of it, so I can't speak on anything.
Okay.
But I know he recently gave up ownership to Fraser. I hope that doesn't mean that Dalibor is leaving the sport or anything. I hope he's still around. But I know Fraser's now running things, and I think I'm interested to see where he takes it. I know he's made a few posts about how he's going to do some slight changes, and I'm really interested to see how that runs. So the
Nice.
first one under Fraser will be March 18th in Calgary. So
That'll be
yeah.
good to see. That's a guy who's been in the sport for a long time. Yeah, he coaches,
Yeah.
right? He coaches arm wrestling.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, like Fraser, he was a little bit quiet in the sport my first couple of years. I want to say he was kind of thinking about, I don't know if thinking about retiring or what, but he was kind of quieter. But now lately he's got a bit of a social media presence. He's got Fraser's Next Level Coaching is something he does now, and I want to say he coaches quite a few people. One person in particular, Mason DeRosie, who
Mason, yep.
coaches Mason, world champion. So that's a great part of, I guess, thing under his belt. And I mean, Fraser's no slouch himself. He's not just a coach; he's a legend as well. So definitely a guy. If you want somebody coaching you, Fraser's probably one of the best. So yeah, he does a lot of coaching now.
Yeah, he clearly does it right. And yeah, because I was speaking with Mason and his father. I was speaking with them both at Mayhem, and they drive quite a ways. Like I think it's like a couple hours or something they drive, to go to this hour and a half or something like that. It's a long ways. They drive to go train with Fraser and then drive all the way back, and it's just like, but the commitment is definitely showing. I mean, he was such a boss on the table. I mean, and just a nice guy. And got to speak with Mason, and he said he is willing to do an interview on the channel. So that'd be a really good one for us, man. That'd be good to get him exposed. Like,
yeah, that'll be awesome.
Get him on here, and then there's a lot more to him than I even knew. Like, he started telling me about all this stuff and these hurdles that he has to overcome to be where he's at. He's not on a level playing field necessarily in some areas as other people, and he has to take precautions, and he's still doing this well. You know what I mean? So anyway, I had a really good talk with Mason and Scott, and yeah, that was really cool. So we'll have to arrange that. I know he's a busy guy too, and I mean, everybody's busy nowadays, but we'll have to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree. He's a great asset to the channel when that day does come, and I'm looking forward to getting back into those interviews, because those were, like, I love doing these. I love just coming on and talking. They're really great, but I think those are the more successful parts of what we do here, is when we have people on. Those are what generally the community likes a little bit more too, is just coming on, and that's that extra face, that extra, I guess, part of that video is really good. So talking to these people, especially somebody like Mason, like world champ, and somebody I've never spoke to myself, and I'd really want to have that conversation piece, I guess, and dig into a little bit more of who Mason is, and like I said, get him out there and know that how great Western Canada can be in terms of athletes they can produce. So
yeah, man, and yeah, you'll see, super nice guy, and really, like, once you get to know more of his story, he becomes very, like, inspirational almost, right? It's at that level, and it's like very cool. And you're totally right about the interviews and the channel. Like, when I went to nationals, I had a couple people come up to me like, "Hey, you do those interviews on YouTube, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, so it's the interviews. Okay, all right." And truthfully, I'm in the same boat as you. I prefer the interview. I'd like to get to know arm wrestlers and know how they got their starts. There's so many weird ways to start in this sport, because it's still such a, like, almost like this underground sport per se, and people get into it in weird ways.
Yeah, I agree. It's so great to talk to people like that and hear how everybody started, because most people start the same way, but then there's also those outliers, and it's like, oh, really? That's how you started. So yeah, no, it's great to see.
So definitely stick with that. I can't wait to do another one. We'll have to book it. We'll have to book it with Mason as soon as we can and get him in here, and keep it going, because it's been a long time since we've done an interview. So
another thing we have to consider too is last person we interviewed was Ty, correct? Ty. I believe it was Ty. And we kind of played that, like, who do you want to see next thing? And I believe the name he said was Len Houghton. So that doesn't have to be the next guy, but we should definitely honor that. I have reached out to Len. Len said he's willing to do it. So though, I guess the next two names, maybe Mason and Len, would be two great. Obviously, Len, like, Canadian legend. Can't even, if I started talking about Len, we'd have an extra 40 minutes on the video. So too much to say about the guy. Great arm wrestler. Everybody knows that, but we'll get him on too. So
yeah, ask him about his family in arm wrestling now. Now he's got
yeah,
he's got a crew now. So
yeah,
yeah,
like the Lethbridge Club, and then also the Houghton Boys. Like it's just tons of stuff going on. Like Lethbridge it's one of the hubs in Alberta for sure.
yeah, they're banging now, man. They're strong. They prove it on the table every time, and they're all convincing wins. Like
yeah,
absolutely. Powerhouse. I've never pulled them, but at some point I look forward to it. I mean, I would pull everybody, but yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I've never gripped up with him on an after table or much. Like the only Lethbridge dude I really have a history with is Ty.
Right.
And then a few of the other guys that are kind of newer than me, but just beasts come out of the woodwork. Like they're all super good. So
yeah, well, it's easy for these newer guys to come out of the woodwork when there's all this information, like so much information readily available in arm wrestling, how to get into it, how to find clubs, like easy ways to find clubs, right? Like look at the whole arm bet thing, right? Like there's all these ways to find it now, and like now you're not shooting in the dark. You can go find all the right information, start training, as right as possible right away, and you're making leaps and bounds instead of trying to kind of figure things out for yourself and a lot of guessing, and that's a way slower process. I feel like I rode that train a lot more, had a lot more guesswork, especially between, the time when I stopped training with Jason Roy, started training with, Terrell Wojciechowski. In that gap, it was just a lot of guesswork, and I relied a lot on Arm TV. I want my Arm TV. Mr. Gary Roberts.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Best resource I had at the time.
A lot of that older stuff, and I still go back and watch those. Those are awesome. Those Arm TV, classic Gary Roberts. Like you see Todd Hutchings with the mustache, and there's like a rare clip of him pulling Cleve Dean, like just gems in the sport that you get to watch and those old stuff. So really great. Yeah.
Yep. Big fan of that. I wish he would have stayed with that, but I understand the money wasn't there and stuff, and then, but still. Big fan to this day of Gary Roberts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He wasn't in the sport too much, like too long ago either. I think he just said he was taking a break, and he still hasn't really come back around. So I'm not sure what he's up to.
Yeah, because he was doing Arm TV on YouTube again, and then it just kind of disappeared. I don't know. Cool, man. Anything else? This is already 30 minutes.
Yeah, for a first video back, we can kind of go there, and I mean that was a nice little kind of generalization of 2023 and where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Kind of where we're at. I feel like maybe we could, now that I'm finished the practicum part of my degree that took quite a bit of last fall and took away from our ability to make videos, or at least my ability to be here. Now that that's out of the way, I think we can make probably more often and continue that growing process of arm wrestling in Western Canada. So
yeah, I'm all for it, man. I look forward to being able to do more of these with you again, and I'm sure we have subscribers that are really looking forward to interview videos and us posting about tournaments and stuff. And yeah, man, I think it's a good way to end it off. It was it's good to be back. And now we'll be back more than ever. So that's even better. And, I'd like to also start throwing in, occasionally like training videos and stuff, just kind of what I'm doing. The club, I did buy a new table. So we have one of the Ezreal arm wrestling tables from Edmonton. So we ordered that in. I really needed one. We were down to 2 tables because Aaron had taken his back.
Right.
So we were down to 2 tables, and sometimes, and we're on the regular, we're having like 7 to 9 people show up, which is awesome, but not when you have 2 tables. So guys threw a bunch of money together, and now I got a table, and then I spent a bunch more, and I bought their really nice, like longer pulley, the tall one with the adjustable lengths. Man, all this stuff is super high quality. You wouldn't think that for $420 you get yourself a rock solid arm wrestling table, comes shipped real nice, comes with all the tools you need to put it together, and ridiculously high quality. It just blows the doors off all the other tables, like the other 2 tables, no problem.
Yeah, Ezreal, and so like the table's $420, which is already like a table less than $500 is like hard to find, and that comes with the pulley too.
No,
Or
no,
not? Okay, I
I
was gonna
spent
say.
more so that ordered them at the same time, so shipped at the same
Right.
time. But I ordered a
Yeah.
pulley. The pulley system was like nearly $300, but
Okay, even that's not bad. I mean, like,
no,
sometimes like the price you paid for the pulley and the table, sometimes that's just the table. And
usually that's just the table.
sometimes just a table is $700.
Yeah,
And the general ballpark I see is 600. So at least when I'm looking. So
yeah. So super, super, super satisfied with the quality of that, and I'll make a video on it and give them a plug because it's insane. Like I am very impressed, and we got like the cheaper tables, so the 420, and then there's another table like the elite table or pro table, whatever they call it, but it has like leg wraps
oh,
and
okay, yeah, yeah,
and then
I've
like a
seen those.
thicker top, like whereas this is just like square
Yeah,
tubing, and then you got your top on top of there. The other
yeah,
one is it has like the thicker, like one you'd see at like Nationals or something, the
right,
thick trim around it.
yeah, yeah. I think I've
But
seen those
anyway, man,
before.
super happy with that. You have to give it a shot on that pulley.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to coming in and seeing that. And I get eventually when I'm set up more stationary myself, I want to get a setup like that myself, and just a table and a pulley. That's really all you need. So a table for when you're training with other dudes, and a pulley for when you got nobody around and you still want to do some, not the pulling side, but the gym side of things. So
Yeah, and
really, really good to have.